So today's episode, we're going to talk about what it's like to be in a time machine investing today. We're going to talk about kind of what happened today in our portfolio. But specifically, we're going to talk and look forward to the next few weeks. So we have some really good stuff on the horizon. But unless you act now, you're going to be looking back going, dang it. Wish I went back to, what is it? October 22nd, and I would have listened to Matt because I would have made a lot of money. So a lot of money. Definitely a lot more than I made. And if you don't take any of this, you're going to lose out. You're going to kick yourself. So don't go screaming to me about it. So over the last week, I knew stocks were going to go up today. Ironically, let's take a look at the market today. Let's go on here so we can show you guys. All right, so we'll take a look today. The Dow went up half a point, NASDAQ went up 0.2, and S&P went up a half a point. We went up 4.4, so kind of our typical return, maybe even a little bit better than the comparison. But again, we have a different portfolio than those two do. Some of our stocks are similar, some of them are very different. Overall, the ones that went up today, we look at things like Red Robin Group. They went up 7% today. Every, which is our casino ATM one of my favorite stocks, up 6% today. Crestwood Equities, an oil stock, went up 8% today. So we already got three consumer groups that are investing segments we got today. GNC, it says 12, but they're a bankruptcy stock. I'm not too worried about that. I don't really care too much either way. Houghton Mifflin, book publisher, they're up 5. They've actually done really, really well lately overall. And then the three that tend to have been doing really good overall lately, Caesars Entertainment, we'll look at them in a minute. DraftKings went up another 3-4%. And then Vine Technologies, that was Menlo. They have a 100% buy rating. They went up 6% today. All right, so one of the things we're going to look at today is that the stocks, they said they closed higher after Pelosi points to progress on coronavirus stimulus talks. Nobody's really talking about this. Everybody's trying to figure out if it's going to pass or not. But Steve Mnuchin and Pelosi have been meeting every day. Supposedly, they're really close to announcing something. Friday is usually the day when they dump bad news. So my guess is if the Democrats want to pass this bill and they don't want to get a whole lot of publicity for it, you'll probably see this come out tomorrow afternoon. But there's good movement on this. It seems like they're negotiating in good faith. So we'll look at that, but they're, kind of looking at trying to find out where things are at right now. So just on the hope that things are getting better, it jumped up pretty nicely on that. From there, we're going to just talk a little bit about, we're going to jump into, actually, you know what, we're going to move into this because I didn't have this in the right order. So we're going to talk about jobless claims. So one of the things we're going to see right here is that, two pieces of market data, economic data, they're going to be coming out soon. Number one, jobless claims. Dow barely budged, but jobless claims look awesome. We just added 11 million jobs, so things are definitely going in the right direction. Companies are hiring back. Typically, they're going to be in states, unlike California, where I live, and New York, and places like that, where they just are going to lock everything down. But the states that are open, like Florida is wide open. There's literally zero coronavirus restrictions on there. Indiana, Tennessee, and I want to say there's a few others that are pretty well wide open. You're seeing places basically come back. And, you look at places like restaurants and things like that, and people are going to be a little bit more hesitant, mainly because maybe they're questioning their own discretionary income. They're being careful with their money, or they're still a little bit concerned, but that's fine. I mean, if kind of the market as a whole dictates that there's going to be less business because people are worried about getting coronavirus, then let it happen that way. That's fine. But it's better than that happen than the government basically tell you have to close, which is just really, really, really stupid. But anyway, see a lot of positives coming up. Jobless claims look fantastic. 11 million people got rehired in the last reporting of data. One of the things that's coming out on October 29th is the third quarter GDP advance estimate. So this is really the one that I always give headlines to. Basically ended on September 30th. They basically put together all the data, make sure it's all correct, and they give an assessment of where they're looking at Q3. Now, this is the one where you see Trump basically touting. He said it's going to be the greatest Q3 data that you've seen. He said it's going to be right before the election, which it will be. It's going to be basically happening, I think, next Friday. To that effect, the Atlanta Fed estimates that the U.S. had its largest GDP increase in history during the third quarter. I mean, it's going to be huge. I forget who it was. Somebody came out and said they expect it to be, might have been the Wall Street Journal. I forget who it was, but they expect it to be about 35%. When you see that happen, you're going to see your portfolio just rocket, because people are just on this native pessimistic bandwagon. So we're going to be pessimistic until we hear the other way around. Let's talk about the pandemic a little bit. Normally I show you the San Diego stuff, which we've seen enough. We're going to go, and I was looking at things in the U.S., and we'll take a look and see kind of where things are at, just so you can get a sense on the overall tracking on where things are at. So I went and looked at here, and this one, I was trying to find something where it's just a lot of data, and this one is basically just kind of editorializing. Axios is known a little bit for being left-leaning, but overall, the places where you look at cases increasing are a lot of very sparsely populated places for the most part. I mean, you're not going to see New York, you don't see California. I guess Texas is in there, but a lot of Texas is sparsely populated as well. The Deep South, Montana, Utah, things like that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to a couple things that I saw right here. Let me take a look and see if this is the one we're looking at. So this one has a nice little dashboard. We're not going to go to excess deaths. That basically, it should be relatively a flat line. Excess deaths means you take all the coronavirus deaths, and then you subtract off, like, you add the coronavirus deaths, you subtract all the diseases and deaths that are not being reported. Like, for example, nobody's really measured the flu at all since March or April. You'd think it was cured because it's almost a zero across the board. Ironically, that's where you see COVID, and they mirror symptoms. So you're going to see a big overlap in the number of cases, and it's going to be relatively flat because it encompasses both of those. But for this one, we want to take a look at, let's see, weekly number of deaths by age. This gives us a nice little chart. So let's go ahead and update the dashboard. And look at this. Under 25 years old, we are looking at, I mean, almost nothing. I mean, it's just super, super flat. It's almost zero pretty much. 25 to 45 years old, it went up a little, but there really wasn't a whole lot there. Yeah, so under 25 years old, the number of deaths is 1,100. I mean, think about how many people we have under 25. When you get under 18, it's almost zero. When you get 25 to 44 years old, it's 2,800. 45 to 46. They show the number of deaths about 10,000, but look at this. You have the big spike early on. You have May and June went down. You had all the riots come up, so the COVID spread a little bit more, and that's the after effects of that. And look at that. It is going down like a ski, like a black diamond ski slope. Get to 65, spiked up really quick, went down really quick. Basically May or June. Then we had the riots spread over here, and it's gone down like, well, we'll call it a blue square. Is it blue square? I think that's an easy one, but like an intermediate ski slope, although it can get to black diamond right here for the most part. 75 to 84, which is where my dad is, spiked up. I mean, dropped like a ton. At this point, May, June, we have the riots come in. It went up, so those rioters spread it to the grandparents, and then it went down. And if you see right here, I mean, we're really pretty much almost where, we left off very early on. And then 85 years older, massive spike, massive drop, riots carried over, and it dropped down. So overall, you look at this, and the majority of people in this country you're going to see in kind of these three areas. But even the areas where you see the biggest spike, look at these recent drops. Everything is going down. All right, so then we go to the coronavirus by ethnicity. Is there something I want to show you on here? I don't like showing this only because it really doesn't affect public policy on this as much. Let's take a look. Yeah, this is just pretty much ethnicity, although I will show you this. we look at, I will show you kind of why I'm talking about this. All right, so if you're looking at deaths by COVID, the majority are in the dark blue. The dark blue are white people. So when we go to the white people down here, and we break it out by, is this the one I wanted to show you? No, that's Latino versus white. Mortality rate. So the percentage of people who get COVID that die per 100,000. We have New Jersey, which I cannot believe New York is number 4, by the way. New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York. So all in the same northeastern area, all Democratic run states. Louisiana, Democratic governor. Rhode Island, Democratic governor. Mississippi, you got your Republican. I'm not really sure what happened there. Georgia, Democratic governor. Arizona, I'm not sure, to be fair. Delaware, I'm not sure. But anyway, we look at all this, and most of the ones that are on here, this high mortality rate, are all in the Northeast, which is a small area. So, but overall, if we go into other parts of the country, you're not going to see that. All right, so this one's interesting. COVID-19 hospitalization by death and age. So if you're under, basically, if they do a comparison group where they look at people who are 18 to 29 and kind of set that as the benchmark for hospitalization and death, if you're under 18, I mean, you're just not going to get it. It's just like, it's ridiculous. I mean, literally, I can tell you without showing you right now, but the flu has a higher mortality and hospitalization rate than COVID does if you're here. But once you go into some more higher ones, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, you get a little bit more likely to have adverse outcomes. But look at this. Once you get past, I would say once you get past 65 years old, you have a 90 times more likely of dying. 75 to 84 is 220 times. And if you're 85, you're a walking casket. I mean, it's going to be 630 times higher. The reason I wanted to show that to you guys is because it really doesn't make sense to have everybody locked down if the only people that are really getting hammered are the people from 75 to 80 years old. And if we look at the deaths here, we see them plummet. So I think what you're going to see going forward is you have a combination of a few things. People are being hired back. We're going to be releasing third quarter GDP on the 29th. So you're going to see on the 29th what nobody's paying attention to right now as a whole. All the people that are investing in their stocks are not paying attention to this. But in a week, basically in 8 days, you're going to see these numbers come out. The numbers are going to absolutely be huge. And one of the things you're seeing is the COVID numbers are going down. So basically all we need to do is get the announcement, get past the election, and you're going to see your portfolio take off. So overall for our portfolio, we're sitting here basically getting a 50% increase in what we purchased these stocks for. Overall, we have 105% gain, which means we doubled our money. The top performers in here, no surprise here. Signet, we're getting ready to quadruple our return. Crestwood Equities and oil stocks. Caesars Entertainment, we've tripled as well. Redwood Trust, which is a REIT, we've basically tripled. I mean, basically within a couple points. And we have other stocks. PVAC, which is an oil stock. Every, which is our ATM stock in Vegas, more than doubling. And we have some stocks getting ready to do that. Now, the other thing that came in is that we put in some limit orders for PBF and ICAGI. Now, one of the really interesting things that came in for that one is we'll take a look at PBF. And I was we could say it's fortunate luck, well thought out. It could be probably a little bit of all of them. But we put in a limit order where the price basically was, I want to say it was like $5.35 at the close yesterday. And I said, okay, well, I'll just put it at 5. And if it gets down to 5, we'll put in an order. If not, then I'm not really worried about overall. So we had this massive plummet in PBF today, and it went down all the way to 5. So we basically bought at the absolute crater part of the valley and went up today. And so as a result, we dropped down our cost basis down from I think it was like 7.95 to 6.38. So we're getting to a point where we lowered our loss. We're going to break even faster. And when you see this start to recover, especially when those GDP numbers come out, I think you're going to see this one explode. So overall, let's clear that one out so we know that we've done that one. And we are projecting out at a portfolio amount of 323, which is basically the beach house that we keep talking about. So with that being said, I have a lot of positive news. You've seen what you need to see. This is like investing like an inside trader. I keep telling you guys that, but it's time to actually act, put your money on the table, put your bets in, and you just know that the next two cards you're going to pull are a king and an ace, and you're going to win your blackjack hand. So get started, get your hand in right now, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. To get more information on the sales cheat code, go ahead and click on the subscribe button below. Also, down below in the video description, down there, there's a link that takes you to our website that gives you additional content, some additional freebies that we have, and gives you information on some programs that we have that have been proven to help people to make sales easy so that you can make the kind of money you want, live the lifestyle that you've always wanted, and not have to struggle in the process. And what might be the coolest thing of all is you don't have to put much effort into it. It truly is a cheat code that most people don't know about. And it's a cheat code that can change your life today. So click on the link below and let me help you start to experience these results starting right now.